welcome to another installment of the Fragments to Silicon reviews. I suppose there's a possibility Mac may be in the chat this week. He left a message on Discord to that effect, but he might also be playing Genshin Impact right now. Anyway, I suppose that's beside what we're doing here tonight, and that is reviewing some games. Up first, What the Golf? So this is the rare unprovided title, which usually means it's standing in for something. And yeah, it is a game that wouldn't work. We occasionally get those. And it's more a case of it flat out wouldn't run rather than it was so broken I couldn't play it. We have had both on this program. We tend to review the ones that are, broken but allegedly playable, and get angry at those. Yeah. What the Golf is not that. Now, I suppose you might think that What the Golf here is a golf game, with the title and everything, and not really. Or let's say it's a sometimes golf game, and even then, that's not really the point. As I put it in the pre-show, it's a golf game in the same way that Goat Simulator is a simulator about goats. It's just, this is more of a gimmick comedy game than an actual golf thing. Mm-hmm. I suppose there's some actual golfing to be had, but it's you're not worried about what club you're using. You're not worried about wind speed, velocity. You're not even worried too much about your power. I mean, that's I'd say the one element it shares with actual golf games. It's got the power meter, although it's kind of awkward. I don't know why it was done this way, but it's default reversed. When you stretch out, the way it works is, at least on the PC, I don't know how this works on the Switch, but you hold down the left mouse button and you pull back. Think Angry Birds, something like that. But the arrow's pointing in the opposite direction you want. It's got this inverse thing going on here.
It seems like you're not even playing as a golf ball half the time.
Yeah, you're not. Sometimes it's a surprise. Sometimes you're playing as the golfer. That's the first subversion level. You're hitting the golfer towards the flag. And there are other permutations that, you can see in the trailer, you're knocking back a house. There's an entire subset of levels where you play as a race car. And that's in the trailer too. Though sometimes it's not just basing it on a, say, object. Sometimes they rip off a theme. There's an entire set of space levels where you do different things in space. Yes, one of them is calculating the velocity of a golf ball around planetoids. Hell, sometimes they incorporate other games' motifs. In the trailer, it shows off the super hot section. And that would go about how you think it would. You hit the golf ball and things move, like it does in super hot, at least on the initial levels. It's progress is measured. There's the initial level, and you can go back and play two layers of there's usually what's the par level. That's the one where you have to usually hit in a certain amount of strokes, or something that might be themed towards the gimmick. You have to get, your golfer to the flag in a certain amount of time. It's just really difficult to do that. Or with the super hot level, it's instead of having the super hot gimmick, it's all in real time, which worked out not as good as they thought it did. And then there's the crown level. That's where you get the beat the ultimate challenge of a level, and working your way to full completion. It's like anyway, the game is really inventive and really creative. A lot, this is probably the best gimmick game I've ever seen. Because it's not just one thing driven into the ground, or it's one thing done horribly wrong. But it's a bunch of intelligently designed things put together. And you see, and if you're looking for an actual golf game here, you look elsewhere. It's not a golf game. It says so on the page. In fact, apparently the developers rather hate the sport of golf, and let you know in the a lot of in-game prompts, they think it's boring. And I don't know, see. Apologies. Anyway, so the aesthetics of the entire game is interesting. It's got this very stylized visual thing. I'm not exactly sure I can place, but it does make things stand out. Can you still hear me?
Yes, why?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. I wasn't sure if my microphone cut there. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, and the game is fun to play, at least for a while. I will say that dragging the mouse back and forth got old, about an hour in. But this game does lend itself to bite-sized gameplay, fairly well. And it's seen some updates in the intervening time that it got released. Right now, it's got the course creator available in early access. I actually did not try that, because honestly, creation tools never interested me too much. But it's there if you want it. And apparently there's some multiplayer to this, but only had the one copy. And the Steam version uses remote play together, which is always a gamble. Let's see. Music is also a curiosity. Try to guess what the soundtrack it's made of.
Carnival music?
Nope.
Heavy metal?
Nope.
Gospel?
Nope.
Soft rock?
Believe me, he's on a lighter track than you might think, because the answer
Classical?
is acapella.
Oh God.
Ah.
Yeah.
So they abducted Smooth and the Grooves then.
It's not cover music, but yeah, it's all mouth music. Which once again, not the first time I've heard acapella stuff, an all acapella soundtrack for that matter. For certain reasons, Crash to Insanity, for example, had an all acapella soundtrack. But fairly rare on the on any scene. If I'm being honest here, like, but yeah, it's it's good a cappella music at times. Sometimes it's really minimalist, maybe a bit too toned down for its own good. But yeah, it at the very least makes things stand out. And it's like I'd probably recommend an outside listen. For the record, the soundtrack is not on Steam. It might be on like Bandcamp or something. Probably on YouTube, but no option to buy the soundtrack where you get the game. And indeed, the game is available for Microsoft Windows, the Macintosh. It's got an iOS version, which doesn't surprise me. Honestly, playing through this game, it feels like a mobile game on a different device. Like, not necessarily in a bad way, but the way the thing controls it, it feels like it would probably play best on a touchscreen. But you can get by with a mouse. I do not want to imagine playing this game with a fucking Joy-Con because it is on the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But not the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One or the associated next gen consoles. I suppose peeling back the curtain of indie a bit here. That's not an unusual thing on the indie circuit because the prioritization goes like PC and Switch because that's where the most money for indies are made.
Also, something childhood dream of putting game on Nintendo console.
For some, yes, but it's also indie games sell the best on the Nintendo Switch, and if they're successful enough, will migrate to other consoles later. Sometimes the Microsoft or PlayStation indie initiatives will pick up a indie title for their portfolio, but not all the time, as we see the case here. Also Nintendo has their own indie incentives where you make a game for their system first, and they'll promote you. Like, it's just some of the various things we've learned doing this show for so long. Anyway, What the Golf will clock in at $20, and yeah, I think that's a fair price given the amount of content on display here. It's a lot larger than a lot of gimmick games tend to be. There's about 10 areas, 10 worlds with a various amount of courses, about 3 to 5. And there's like 3 levels each. That's just the single player. I don't know what the status of the course creation tool is for this the Switch version or the other versions, but I presume that that's going to hit the other platforms once it's out of early access on the PC. Anyway, and as far as the game, like I said, it's a solid 7.5 out of 10, I'd say, and by far the best, comedy gimmick game I've played. It's an actual good game, as opposed to, oh hey, let's play this game where it's impossible to control and it's got shit physics. Looking at you, recent reviewee Goop Loop, just to cite one example. Anyway, so yeah, that'll about do it for What the Golf here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Boulder Dash Deluxe.